y'all, welcome back to yet another video of mine. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that. If you have not visited any of the videos I put up, please by all means do that. I want you to enjoy my content just as much as I do enjoy posting it. I'm just gonna adjust the camera a little bit. So for this video, we're going to be talking about my dating files. I know we talked about Suitor A, and all of these dating files that I'm pulling are from 2024. They're from last year, okay? So we've done and dealt with Suitor A. Now we're on to Suitor B. Again, I'm not going to be sharing any names, but I'll do the best that I can to describe certain situations and things that I've experienced or encountered with the individual. Before I jump into the video, I just want to inspire any young woman or young man who's dating, whether you've been on the cusp of being engaged or married, whether you're divorced or on the cusp of being divorced, to keep your head up when you get into the dating industry or you start jumping back out there again in the market. Definitely take your time to heal. Don't waste time, because you don't want to do that, especially as we get older. We come to find that we get older and we really don't have time. We ain't got time to be wasting. I know I don't. So yeah, that's my advice to you. But again, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and express your thoughts. It's okay to do that here on my channel. So let's jump into it. All right, so after doing my 3 years of healing, I know I mentioned that in the last video. I did all of that, and so after doing my 3 years of healing, I was not ready to date, and I'm gonna explain all of that. I do have my notes. I did kind of like do notes because I wanted to not go off track, but to do my best to stay with everything. So by time that I had finished healing, which was a 3-year mark, I was comfortable with being alone. So I was okay with my solidarity. I was okay if, I wouldn't meet somebody again. I was okay with that. Until, you have family members and you have friends and they're like, listen, you've been alone like for a pretty long time now. Like, when do you plan to date? You've got to go on a date, start meeting some people. So I ended up again, Hinge. Hinge is either a hit or a miss, okay? So if you are someone who's dating, or you're dating online, or it's your first time trying to date online, please throw away all the garbage stigmas where it's like, oh, well, I don't want friends and family to know I met you online and bull crap like that, okay? Because listen, if you meet the one, it doesn't matter how you meet them. If you meet the one, you meet the one, okay? Let's not be ignorant to experiences and encounters or blessings that God has for us. My first date after healing for the 3 years was my first glimpse of hope. Literally, when I mean my first glimpse of like hope and purpose after divorce. I kind of felt like, okay, well, after this date, it just might be the end of the first date, like nothing else after that, just simply because from what I was hearing at the time from other friends, like, oh, there's really nothing out here and this and that. So I kind of assumed the same for myself, like, oh, there's not going to be anything or anybody out here. But literally, when I went on the date with Suitor B, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him because it flowed, like it wasn't forced or anything like that. It always kept me laughing, smiling. We were able to like engage in many conversations. So here's the backdrop or the backstory on Suitor B. Suitor B was a CEO for a hospital, originally from Maryland, owned a couple of transitional homes, and was basically out here, doing the thing. So it just so happened that he lived in Florida. We met, and he was out here for work, believe it or not. Hold on, I see a wasp. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, there was a wasp. So Suitor B had quite a few things that he had already experienced before meeting me. He didn't have any kids. He was previously engaged, but then he called that engagement off, and he ended up explaining why he called that engagement off. But he ended up making up a story to his ex-girlfriend, basically so he could get the ring back. He had spent over $30,000 on a ring, which he showed me the ring, and it was a beautiful ring, very beautiful. And I'm like, dang, you should have just let her keep the ring. But he's like, yeah, nah, 30K, no. So he basically was saving the ring that he has now for whomever he decides to get engaged to, which we'll jump to that toward like the end of the video. So I'm just gonna talk about our first date. We serial dated, if that sounds right. Meaning like we went on like 2 dates in the same day. But the thing is, when we were supposed to go on a date, I was trying my hardest to stand him up. That's not funny and that's not nice, but I just was that comfortable with being alone. I just didn't want like the burden of having to like cater to or be considerate to somebody else, in all honesty. That's my neighbor, I think. It is my neighbor. So on our first date, we ended up going to IHOP. So for anybody who wants to knock it all you want. I actually enjoyed it. I'm a brunch type of gal. I like the simplicity of being able to just kind of go out and enjoy conversation. Not necessarily the fanciness of things. Like, I don't want to go to a steak chop house or get dressed up all the time. I don't want to do that. I just want to keep it simple, and I just need to know if we're for each other or not. It's that simple, right? All right, so our first date was at IHOP. It's crazy because we both ended up at 2 different locations. Same town, 2 different IHOPs, which were up the street from each other. So when he had called me saying he was here, this is the color I'm wearing, I got out the car, and I was at the IHOP near my house, and I didn't see him. I'm like, I don't see you. So he's like, I wonder if I'm at the one up the street. He gave me the address. I said, yeah, that's the one up the street. That's not where I am, but I can come to you. Okay, green flag. He didn't want me to move. He said, I'm gonna come to you. It's just right up the street. It's no big deal. You stay put. I'm coming. Cool, no problem. He came, okay? I got back in my car. When he pulled up, he got out the car, and I was trying to assess from the windshield. I'm like, okay, he's short, but he ain't that short, but he's cute. He's attractive looking. Okay. So I'm like, let me get out the car, because I seen him like kind of twiddling with his phone. I'm like, he's probably going to call to let me know he's standing outside of, the IHOP doors, but I see him. I see him, but he don't see me. So I got out the car or whatever, and I walked up to him, and a huge smile was on his face. Now, he said that he had been, like, I guess not catfished, but like where people put up like old pictures from 14 years ago and then pop up and look totally different. So I guess he was surprised that I looked like me. Like, my pictures, I still look petite and no makeup. This is how I was looking, my natural look, because I don't wear makeup unless I have to. It was all kumbaya. We went in, we were seated at a table, and at first I was very nervous when we sat down. I wasn't anxious, I was just very nervous. I felt like, I don't want to say I felt like I was being interviewed, because I didn't feel like that, but I felt like, when you're preparing for an interview, or you got to go into an office or something, and you're sitting in front of like a supervisor, or, that's how I felt. But it was just my nerves. He was definitely a sweet guy. We were able to talk about different things and stuff like that. And my first impression of him was his smile. Just off of like when we would joke and talk or whatever at the table, his smile was very like contagious. Like, he smiled, and I just naturally feel myself like smiling back. So we ended that. The waitress ended up getting double tipped, which I didn't know that he had. He did pay for the bill, but I didn't know he tipped ahead of me or whatever. And then he had went to the restroom. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, while he's going to the restroom, the least I can do is leave a tip. So I left a $20 tip on top of whatever he left. Cool. Again, no problem. So I leave out the restaurant because I'm kind of looking for him or whatever. Because I'm like, okay, I thought he said he was going to the bathroom or whatever, but I waited. He took forever. It felt like he took forever to come out the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, let me leave or whatever. I left. Now I'm like, okay, let me come back, and then he's walking out from the bathroom or whatever. And then we walked to Marshall's, and I ended up buying a toy. I was trying to buy a toy for my daughter. My card was locked. I don't know what it is with the internet or the data in certain places that it interferes with like my my connection or whatever. And so I was trying to unlock my card. I couldn't. So when I swiped my card, it declined. He ended up paying for the toy. Which I was like, no, I can give you the money back like right now. And I swear my card was just locked. The Wi-Fi or whatever, the connectivity is kind of, it always does it when I come into the store. It just interferes. It's like, no, just let her know I got it for her. Which I didn't, because again, when I'm dating, if it's not anything serious, I don't mention nothing. But I said, a friend got this toy for you. That's what I said. And so my daughter was grateful for it. It's a doll. So after me not standing him up, which I was glad that I didn't do, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him enough to kind of feel like, oh, I wonder when the next date is. But I didn't ask for a next date. I didn't want to do all of that. After after the store, we went bowling. And that was cool. We were arcading as well. And he ended up winning. He didn't really show no mercy with like letting me win. And that's cool. We did place a bet on it. His bet was that if he wins, then second date. So he ended up winning, and eventually we did get to a second date, and I'm gonna get to that. So I'm gonna talk real quick about our talking stage after the first date. So after the first date, we didn't just automatically go on a second date. Our talking phase continued on, like in the phone, like the texting, calling on the phone, things like that. But we weren't rushing into anything, and everything was natural. Like he was free to pick up the phone and call whenever he wanted to, and vice versa. And I kind of feel like maybe that's what made it so natural or unforced for me, because it felt natural. It didn't feel like I had to be like hesitant or ask myself, like second guess myself, like, is it okay to call him? Should I call him? Because if he's already told me pick up the phone and call anytime that you want to, pick up the phone and call. So I just do that. I was preparing and planning for my trip to New York, and after me telling him, he wanted to see me. Now at the time, Suitor B lived in Fort Myers. I was preparing to go to New York, and this is after letting Suitor B know like what was up. He's like, oh, I want to see you. I need to see you before you go. Cool, no problem. So he ends up driving from Fort Myers to Tampa. That's about a 2-hour drive, which he took on a weekday after a work meeting. Literally right after he finished, he's like, oh, let me know a spot near you where I could come and we can, go on our second date. I said, oh. Okay. After him driving out and everything, for me, that was another green flag. I'm like, wow, like you didn't have to do that. Like you literally took a 2-hour drive on a weekday. It wasn't like a Friday or anything like that. It was a Wednesday night because I was leaving out Thursday morning to come see me. Like that's crazy, which told me that if a man really wants to, sis, he will. It don't matter how far you are. If he wants to, he will. And so he did. And for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I felt important again. I felt there was hope again. I kind of felt there was purpose, not necessarily between him and I, but just in a sense of like, oh, dating, and there are people out here who won't waste your time. There are people out here who do know what they want. And he happened to be one of those people. So our date was cool. We had Cajun waves, a seafood boil spot or whatever. We were able to engage in conversation and things like that. We literally stayed on that date past closing. Okay, after spending about 20 minutes in the lot, just kind of getting excited, talking about like different music, things like that, nobody kissed nobody. Literally, nobody kissed anyone. And I kind of felt like, for me, the reason why I did not initiate, or I didn't I didn't kiss him was because I had forgotten like the whole dating process, if that makes sense. Like, I'd been out of the game so long that I wasn't comfortable at that point in time with initiating anything, like at all, not even a hug or anything. But thank God that as far as hugs, like he wasn't afraid to hug or anything like that, which is cool. But we didn't kiss or whatever. So upon getting ready to leave, of course, he walked me to my car or whatever, watched me get in, and then he got in his car. So despite being out of the game so long, being divorced, not really sure how I should initiate anything, whether it be a kiss or whatever, I wanted him to lead, or I wanted to wait on like his gesture. I went to New York, and when I went to New York, I ended up catching the big C. Me and my daughter. I got sick twice. So I was stuck in New York for a month. Something that was only supposed to be 1 week turned into 30 days simply because somebody decided they wanted to get sick and then get me sick. And then therefore I was sick all over again. So when I say I was in the worst shape of my life, when the big C hit me, okay, crying, throwing up. I was weak. I had to like telehealth my doctor. I couldn't even come in. But thank God for healing. Ended up getting past that. So, third appearance, okay, or third hangout. I ended up taking the drive to Fort Myers, and I'm gonna tell you why I took that drive to Fort Myers. I took it because he showed me that he could be a considerate person, right? Meaning, like, okay, if there's someone who, despite living 2 hours away from me, you have meetings and all of that, you're still able to, right after work, come all the way to me just to see me off, to make sure that I'm good. That says a lot. That speaks a lot on somebody's character. So I said, well, let me go ahead and take that drive. I took that drive and I stayed with him for the weekend, okay? And I had fun. He would not let me order anything. I had my little DoorDash app. He would not let me order anything. He was such a gentleman. He cooked dinner, and then the next morning he made breakfast and he made lunch, which I was like, oh gosh, like he cooked. And I'm like, and that was another green flag for me, because I'm like, yes, he doesn't have me like, out here hitting the dashy button or whatever. Like, he's cooking. He made a shrimp Alfredo from scratch. He didn't use any like jar sauces or anything like that. We were able to talk, and I could like watch him make my food in his kitchen while we kind of had a conversation and everything. And I enjoyed that. I feel like the 3 turning points for us as to why it would have worked was because we had similar interests, meaning like political views. We could talk about politics and not like, go at it with one another or whatever. We could respectfully respect each other's perspectives or thoughts on certain policies and things like that. Another conversation we ended up having was about systemic oppression, which about the whole baby mama, baby daddy, child support type of thing. We talked about that. That conversation lasted for a while, and I truly enjoyed it. And then we topped that off with talking about relationships in general, just the journey of where we both were. I wasn't really ready for a relationship, but he was the first person I was kind of like seriously, I guess, trying to feel out, but take my time without rushing. But he was in a different place, meaning like he was looking for a relationship, but not rushing anything. So I kind of say, I guess it's safe to say we were on 2 different pages, but he didn't come with any baggage. I did not come with any baggage, which I was happy that I did not do that. And that allowed me to enjoy him more and more. So as our conversation at the table during breakfast on a Sunday morning before I left out, for me, that was the turning point of like what it was for me. I wanted to pick his mind and just kind of ask him, like, have you dated, women with children? What did that look like for you? What was that experience like? For him, he said he did not have like really good experiences with that. He's had like, a kid lie on him and say that he would buy them this or that, and never said that once, which kind of caused a falling out between him and then the child's mother at the time that he was dating. So I'm like, oh, okay. But then for me, I just wanted to know, like, what would you say your level of connection would be if you did get serious with someone who has or who had a child? Like, would you be able to connect with that child and love them as your own? And his level of honesty, it stung, but it was honest enough for me to know not to be like silly and stick around. Basically, he said, I'm trying to find a nice way to put it. Like, no, he doesn't see himself connecting with someone else, a child that is not his biologically, because it seems to always cause problems from prior experiences. Okay, cool. So I took that as, well, that means that if him and I were to become something serious, or things did get really well, he would have challenges connecting with my daughter, because my daughter is not his biologically. And for me, that was a red flag. That was a run flag. And so I did, though such a sweetheart and everything. Again, I'm thankful he was honest and everything, but it stung. And it stung because I liked him a lot. Like, I liked that he was always trying to find something for us to do, whether it's like hang out or whatever. But I couldn't do with that. Like, I couldn't. He ended up moving to North Carolina for another job that he accepted. Same position, I guess, just paid more. And ended up meeting, I guess, his now girlfriend there, which he shared, or he would share. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, or whatever. But there were things he'd share about his girlfriend that he claimed he, wanted to marry. I don't know if he's proposed or anything like that, but last time that I spoke to him, he was sharing that he planned on proposing if she ain't cut up. So I said, well, my prayer is that she don't cut up so she can get the ring. And I told him, and once you give her the ring, if you give her the ring, don't go doing like you did with the last fiance and lying just to get the ring back, because that's kind of crazy. That was that. And yeah, after he met his girlfriend, whenever he'd be in Florida for work conferences and things like that, he would contact me to see, if just to kind of, I guess, extend like the olive branch of wanting to see me or hang out. And I would always decline it politely. I wouldn't do it like aggressively or out of spite. I would just, because I didn't want to set myself up for that. Like, you've moved on, you got a girlfriend. You already mentioned you would not connect with a kid that's not biologically yours. I don't think it would be fair to set myself up like that. So I didn't. We still maintained our friendship via like just conversations and things like that. After a while, I did notice that, because we would talk about, like, he would ask me, oh, how's dating going and everything. I'd share something, here and there. And he'd just be like, you know what, like, I would like to be desired. I want to be desired like that. The way it is that whoever it is you're dating currently, that you're desiring, not even chasing, desiring, that he too could be desired. And I thought that was kind of crazy, because like, you have a whole girlfriend, is she not desiring you? But then it made sense when he talked about her bringing back a plus one into their bedroom affairs or whatever, and talked about she goes to church and things like that. And that's where I feel like our disconnect was Christian. And I feel like if a woman is going to be a Proverbs 31 woman, there's no way she's going to invite you or bring a third person into your relationship for extracurricular activities. And I think he got defensive with that, and that's fine. I wasn't bashing him and I was not judging him, but I was just correcting him. And I left it at that. So the last stretch, I feel like instead of him asking what he wanted to ask or wanted to know, not about me dating, but where I was as far as like my heart and things like that, he walked around it instead of walking me straight to it. And I'm a person, I would much rather you walk me to it than around it, because if you walk me around it, I'm not going to answer your question simply because you're walking me around it. If you want to know if I've developed feelings, ask me that straightforwardly. You don't have to ask me, like, you don't have to ring around the rosy with it. Just ask me. I am a very straightforward person. And I did develop feelings for him. I liked him a lot, but I wasn't going to hold on to him because it wasn't beneficial to me. So, again, as of my knowledge, he has a girlfriend. I don't know if he proposed. He said that he wanted to, or if things was going right. So if he does ever see this video, I do wish him all the best wholeheartedly. And I wish them happiness if they have, gotten engaged or married or anything like that. So that's it for my story time on Suitor B. I hope y'all have a good day. I'm about to go inside. It looks like it's about to rain. So later, y'all.